Have you ever wanted to go to a new level, or you wanted to implement an entire recipe? You had a recipe for success. Maybe your mentor mapped out a blueprint for success, and you knew, if I just follow this blueprint, I'm going to have success. But you ever find yourself trying to implement a step, but not quite implementing it? Do you ever find yourself uh, relying on logic, like asking yourself questions like, I got to figure out how to do this part or how to solve this problem? And no matter how many hows you have, it might help, but still sometimes you miss the step. Well, if that's you, you are certainly not the only one. I'm Coach Fard Bell, founder of BornCEO.com, transformational implementation coach. They call me the king of implementation coaching, and you'll know why in just a moment. I'm also the best-selling author of the book Born to Rule: 7 Steps to Claiming Your Freedom and Living Your Purpose. And this topic today is called Weak Convictions Produce Weak Leaders, but core convictions produce core leaders. I was having a conversation with my friend Faith Abraham, who's one of my coaching clients, and she was gracious enough to share her journey, because we all know that it's a transformational journey to go from one level to the next level. And no matter how successful we've become, there's always another level to get to. And the distance between where we are now and where we want to go is a gap. There's a transformational gap that must take place, and an implementation gap that must be bridged in order to go from one level to the next level. So whatever the level you've already accomplished successfully, you've already transformed and implemented to get from where you used to be to the level that you are currently at. In order to go from the level you're currently at to where you want to be, there's a whole nother range of implementation that must take place, and a whole nother range of transformation that must take place. And if you're struggling to implement as fast as you'd like to, or struggling to transform as fast as you'd like to, you seek out a transformational implementation coach like me to help you accelerate the process. So if you're ready to accelerate, comment accelerate in the chat, and let's make this happen. So this topic of transformation is near and dear to my heart, because I've continued to go to work on myself. I've continued to go to work on that next level. Hashtag next level. There's always a next level. And I refuse to stay stuck at any level, because God has put too much inside of me, and God is entrusting me with too much for me to settle for less than He created me to be, for me to shrink, for me to stay small, to stay stuck. So I'm talking to people today who are committed, like myself, to going to the next level, committed, like Miss Abraham, to going to the next level. And you're willing to uncover some of the old beliefs, thoughts, and emotions, and even habits that are keeping you at one level, and release them and exchange them for the beliefs, thoughts, emotions, and habits that'll take you to the next level. So welcome to this session, Miss Abraham. Thank you for allowing me to share this conversation with others who are in the same space. And I am super excited to work with you, because I've seen your transformation. I've seen your growth. I've seen you letting go of old ideas, even ideas that, would you say, some of them have been decades old. And it's no easy feat to release old beliefs, thoughts, and emotions and habits that may have been there for 10, 20, 30 plus years, but it's possible. Before I even go any further, what would you say about that? Have you experienced that, releasing old beliefs, thoughts, and emotions that may have been there for quite some time, but finding yourself releasing them and transforming at an accelerated rate? For those who may not know that it's possible, what has been your experience with that?
Yes, it is phenomenal, the exponential progress that I've been able to achieve since working with you, being able to break through all of the things that were holding me back in the past, step by step. And I'm noticing that there's a snowball effect. Like I was breaking through slowly at first, but the speed picks up like a snowball. You throw it and just roll it through the snow, and it's picking up, it's going faster, it's getting bigger and making more of an impact. And that is how my transformation has been occurring since I began working with you a little less than a year and a half ago. And I would say that I definitely 10x my ability to break through and to scale, not only just in my business, but in my personal development and in my development as a leader.
I'm so excited. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing for me, and I take this personally, Ms. Abraham, because I was stuck. I've been stuck for so long in so many different phases before. I've had um, phases in my life where I didn't know what was keeping me from that next level. I couldn't identify that glass ceiling, that invisible ceiling that was keeping me operating where I was. And here's a couple things that I realized, and I'm not going to go too much into the identity transformation. Watch my replay for those that want that topic. I produced a video called "What to Do If Your Goal Seems Too Big." What if my goal seems too big? That's the question. What if my goal seems too big? And it's a powerful piece on how to break through that invisible glass ceiling when it comes to the identity level and becoming. Check that video out. It's very transformational. But today's topic, I want to talk about leadership. Leadership. And I've had so much transformation in this topic of leadership. I continue to grow to my next level of leadership. There's always another level. And today's topic is about the word conviction. Conviction. I want you to feel even the weight of the word when I say it, the emotion I have behind this word when I say conviction. Core conviction. There's a power to it. There's a level of gravitas to it. Dunamis power, if you know what that word means. It's a dynamite type power, an explosive type power. It's filled with authority. It's filled with faith. It's filled with declaration. It's infused with passion. It can break chains. It can break bondage. It can shift the atmosphere. It can change your physicality. It can change your state of being. It can reorder your cells in your body. Conviction. Conviction. So one of the most important lessons that we teach here at Born CEO Coaching is what's called the Born CEO Success Recipe. And look it up on YouTube. The Born CEO Success Recipe it says that basically there is a recipe for success for anything that you want to accomplish. There's a proven recipe for success for anything that you want to accomplish. There are people who have already accomplished whatever you're looking to accomplish, and they have figured out the recipe for success. Whether they've written it down or not, whether they can explain it or not, or articulate it or not, the recipe is there. I found in life that if I interview enough people who have accomplished what I want to accomplish, I find out they say the same things over and over again. Different people, same results, same message. And when I keep hearing the same pattern of success, those give me the ingredients for that particular success recipe. If I want to learn more about having a thriving relationship, and I study people that have had thriving relationships for decades, and I interview a dozen or more, I start to see a pattern, and that is the recipe for success in relationships. If I want to improve my health or fitness, and I interview a dozen or more people that have had the accomplishment that I'd like to produce, the result I'd like to produce, and I pick up the pattern of what they all say and to do. There's 4 rhythms of success. That's another topic we teach. There's always a few things they do daily, a few things they do weekly, a few things they do monthly, and a few things they do annually. Daily, weekly, monthly, annually. Daily, weekly, monthly, annually. And there are usually a few simple things that they do daily, a few simple things they do weekly, a few simple things they do monthly, and a few simple things they do annually, consciously or unconsciously. But it's the consistency of those simple things that compound over time, like the book Slight Edge taught us by Jeff Olson. And that's where we start to see the compound effect finally kick in that produces the result. Stay with me. So there's a proven recipe for success if it comes to building wealth, if it comes to building a financial freedom system around your gift, your message, your idea, your product, your opportunity, or your business, not just having it, but actually building a financial freedom system around it. That's my specialty. There's a formula for that. If it's a traditional business, there's a different formula for a traditional business. If you're becoming an influencer, building a financial freedom system around your message, there's a different system for that. If you are a network marketer, building a financial freedom system around your network marketing opportunity or product or service, there's a specific system for that. In fact, if you'd like to see those recipes for success, you can find them for free at BornCEO.com/freedom business. BornCEO.com/freedom business. All 3 recipes. But it's not enough to have the proven recipe. Having the recipe will save you a lot of time, money, and stress, and years figuring out what to do, always asking, what do I do? What should I do? What should I do? That is one of the biggest time wasters. That's one of the biggest governors that slows down people's progress, is the amount of time it takes us to find the recipe and then just focus on implementing the recipe. Once you find it, you can stop seeking it and just start implementing it with everything you've got, So once you find the success recipe and you focus on implementing the success recipe, very often we hit a roadblock, we hit a wall. And that wall is the only thing standing between you and your next level. The question is, how do you break through that wall? And today's topic will answer that question. It's your core convictions. So most people in my audience are purpose-driven entrepreneurs or aspiring purpose-driven entrepreneurs. They have a mission that they want to fulfill in life, a purpose that they'd like to find and fulfill, an assignment that they feel called to complete. And in the process, they want to become financially independent to free their time so they can be who they were born to be, do what they were born to do, and live like they were born to live. So one of the concepts that I've learned when it comes to building a financial freedom system that gives you time freedom first and foremost, and then as you scale it, it gives you financial freedom to match the time freedom. It takes three things to shift from being an employee with a job or a self-employed person with a glorified job disguised as a business. If anybody's been there other than me, where you own a business that really owns you, and actually having a financial freedom business that allows you to create time freedom, to create passive residual income that covers the bills, so it frees up your time to focus on becoming who you were born to be, doing what you were born to do, and living like you were born to live. Those three ingredients start with having the right core systems in place that work with or without you. The second ingredient is to develop the right core teams who can run that system with or without you. And the third ingredient is to develop core leaders who can manage the whole process and lead it with or without you. When those three things are in place, you have the three key ingredients to have a financial freedom business that gives you time freedom, and then you scale it to financial freedom and abundance. So we boil it down to those three things, but I want to focus in on the last one, the third one, called core leaders. In order to attract core leaders, especially if you're in a volunteer army, a volunteer business, you're leading volunteers, like a ministry leader or a network marketing leader, where you have no employees that you're leading to freedom. They don't have to do it because you're going to take their paycheck away. That's a different type of leadership required if you're leading volunteers. When leading a volunteer army, a volunteer sales force, a volunteer workforce. And these principles also come in handy, even if you're not. Isn't it great to have people that follow because they want to, not because they have to? So I've learned, in order to achieve certain results and break through certain barriers, I had to first become a core leader. I had to become a core leader who implements these core systems and attracts and develops these core teams to run these core systems. But also, I have to be the type of core leader in order to attract the core leaders to complete the process. So, Ms. Abraham, you were sharing with me how your journey was unfolding and how you were hitting some roadblocks and some things come up. Oh, I was asking you how it's going with your core leader assessment, which I'll put up on the screen here. And you were giving me the updates about it, and I told you to get ready for some hardcore coaching, right? Some hardcore next level coaching. And like a champ, you said, all right, bring it on, coach. I'm ready. And so for those who are saying that you want to go to another level, and you mean it, but you know some things have got to shift in order for you to make the transformation, put me in the comments, and but also put ouch in the comments, because what I'm about to share is going to hurt a little bit, but it's going to strengthen you, it's going to empower you, and it's going to help you break through. And my intention today is to transfer the core convictions over to you that will allow you to break through and implement the entire recipe. The entire recipe, whatever that recipe is that you're following, take on these core convictions, this core conviction that you're going to see me modeling and displaying and expressing so that you can implement, put in the chat, the entire recipe, not parts of it. So here we go. If you're a traditional entrepreneur, this is what the entire recipe looks like. When you go to BornCEO.com/freedom business, the 10-step recipe for entrepreneurs. I call it the Freedom Biz Challenge. You want to rate yourself on a 0 to 10 scale on each of these 10 and waste no time getting these 10 things in place. First, imperfectly get all 10 in place and then get better at each 10 in that order. I didn't say stop and perfect one at a time. No. You need all 10 in place badly. Get all 10 going badly, at least they're in place, and then start getting good at them, start mastering them. But get them in place. You give me 2 people, one of them takes it one at a time, and then, and it takes forever for them to get all 10 in place, versus somebody that says, all right, I'm putting all 10 in place right now badly, and then I'll improve them. That second person that puts all 10 in place imperfectly will out-earn and outproduce the other one that's waiting to get all of them perfect one at a time. So get them all in place so you're at least in business, and then get better, practice. If you are an influencer, you're building a financial freedom system around your message. This is the recipe for you. It's a different recipe. I call it taking the influencer challenge. These are the 10 steps to building a financial freedom system around your message that you're monetizing so that you can monetize your message and multiply your impact. It's a different recipe, but you need the core convictions to implement the entire recipe. If you're building a network marketing business and you're saying, hey, I want to create 10K per month, what is the formula for 10K per month and beyond? Coach, how'd you get to 10K per month with 10 to 15 hours per week? I know there's no guarantees here, but for educational purposes, give me the blueprint, give me the layout. Well, here's the layout. I call them the 10 steps to 10K. These 10 steps got me to my first 10,000 plus customers. These 10 steps got me to my first 10,000 plus distributors, business builders, independent contractors. This 10K 10 steps to 10K got me to my first 10,000 plus per month consistent cash flow. Working about 10 to 15 hours a week. This is the blueprint. One of my big goals in 2026 is to effectively lead 1,000 people. Effectively. That sounds like a big goal. How do I do that? Well, what does it break down to? How many core leaders would I need in order to raise up to effectively lead 1,000 people, for us to effectively lead 1,000, not by myself, like Moses tried to do before Jethro gave him wisdom. So it came to me, oh, wait a minute. I, as a core leader, one of the first things I discovered is that I could effectively lead about 30 plus people myself, part-time, as a core leader, following these 10 steps to 10K. So with that in mind, how many core leaders must I raise up in order to lead 1,000 effectively? And I went, wow, 30 core leaders, 35 core leaders, 35 core leaders. Leading 30 people, that's 1,000. So I don't have to focus on the 1,000. All I have to do is raise up 35 core leaders like me. and transfer what's in me into them. Okay, so what is it that's in me to transfer into them? How did I transform from somebody who was earning $0 a month to $1,000 a month part-time to over $10,000 a month part-time? Through a financial freedom system that's sustainable and scalable and duplicatable. It's right here on the screen. This is the recipe, and I call it the Core Leader Challenge. Rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10 if you're building a network marketing business or whatever recipe you're following. These same core leader tips apply. So how did I transform from a weak leader to a core leader? Coach, that sounds pretty harsh. Why are you describing yourself as a weak leader? Well, because nobody was following. And it was not their fault. I was a weak leader. Now, I was strong at leading myself to be core, like the first 6 on here, but I wasn't strong at first at leading others. And I realized I had to transform from weak leader to strong leader to core leader. And I saw that there was a process. And the process is what I'm about to reveal to you. Here it is. Weak leaders produce, let me say it differently. Weak convictions produce weak leaders. Weak convictions produce weak leaders. So why, one of the biggest reasons that I wasn't attracting stronger people and I wasn't commanding attention, I wasn't attracting leaders that said, I'll follow you, is because my convictions about it were weak. Now watch this. My convictions for myself were strong. That made me core. My convictions for myself became strong. That made me a core leader. But what I realized, I wasn't transferring ownership of those convictions to my team members. I was allowing them to feel comfortable with weak convictions, which were producing weak leaders. And so, what are those core convictions that produce core leaders? Because that is the key. Core convictions produce core leaders. Here are my core convictions that I developed. These 10 things on this checklist are not just 10 things to do. These must become, you must develop core convictions around each of these core things. So let's take the events, for example. I developed the core conviction because I knew from my mentors that in order to scale the business model that my mentor proved to produce billions of dollars in sales in different industries with different products at different times over and over again with the same system, I knew that his system was proven, and he did it with inexperienced people, and he raised up a massive army every single time. Never failed. Never failed. Different countries, different industries, different products, different companies, same model. And what I noticed is that it all revolved around number 2 on this checklist. One of his biggest convictions is that we never, ever missed the weekly event that we're bringing people to in our local area. And we never miss our weekly training where we teach the core system. And that's a part-time conviction that I noticed that held together his entire business plan. Watch this. So I saw the franchise model, the franchise concept of what he was teaching, because I'm thinking, how in the world can I make $10,000 a month with just a Tuesday night event and a Thursday night virtual training? How in the world can I turn that into $10,000 a month? And then I saw, because he was so strong about it for himself, and like any master franchisor who wants to franchise, they have certain convictions about how we do things. This is how we do it at Burger King. This is how we run a Burger King franchise. This is how we run a McDonald's franchise. This is how we run Chick-fil-A. These are our core convictions. This is how we show up. This is how we dress. This is how we greet people. We don't say you're welcome. We say my pleasure here. Those core convictions then spread from the first franchisor to the next franchisee and the next franchisee and the next franchisee. And they put somebody in place for quality control to make sure that those core convictions get replicated and protected in every city, in every state, in every country, first locally, then nationally, then internationally. And I said, I see it. His core convictions around number 2 are the key thing that holds together the entire thing. He said, rule number 1 is I never miss the weekly event. We never, not our core people. And we're not talking about, listen, there's a difference between the people and your core people. There's a difference between the team and your core team. I'm willing to recruit 10, 20, 30 people and give them an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to win, an opportunity to thrive, an opportunity to be in this transformational environment, an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to associate, to plug in at whatever level they want to perform at and at whatever pace they want to grow at. But I'm willing to go through 10, 20, 30 people to bring in 10, 20, 30 people, to give 10, 20, 30 people an opportunity to find one more who's ready to be core. I've learned not to wait for the 1, 2, 3 people to become core. Between those that I hire and those that they hire, we're going to recruit 10, 20, 30 people, and I'm going to support through all the ones that I hired and all the ones that they hired until I find the one who's ready to be core right now, because you don't need that many. So I saw my mentor, who taught me the foundation of the model, taught me one of the key pieces of a 4-layer cake for network marketing success. Jot this down, Ms. Faith. The first layer of the 4-layered cake is what I call BornCEO coaching. This is identity coaching. Tapping into your true identity. Who was I born to be first? Taking the limits off of who I was born to be so that I can implement the entire recipe, so I can become the leader I was born to be, so I can actually do what I was born to do and live what I was born to live. Where do I go to get the identity coaching, to take my self-image to another level, to transform from the inside out, from that shy person that I was into a public speaker, into a world changer? God's given me a vision to change the world, but I feel like a shy introvert. How am I going to transform? Where do I go? I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it. I had to piecemeal it. I had to search for it. And the whole time I didn't realize God had placed it inside of me. So the foundation of this network marketing success starts with BornCEO coaching. The next level is the core system. The core system that I learned from my mentor who wrote the book, The Slight Edge. The core system. I call it the core leader checklist. You got to have that system, that core system to build a core team on. So the core system gave me the second layer of success. So the first layer of the network marketing success cake is BornCEO coaching that helped me discover who I was born to be and what I was born to do and tap into my next level of potential. The second level is applying that to the core system, that infrastructure for financial freedom that allows me to turn 10 to 15 hours a week into 10K plus per month and beyond, and teach others how to do the same thing. And then scale that to from 6 to 7 figures and beyond. The third level are the skills. The skills I learned from my mentor, Eric Worre, who wrote the book Go Pro, 7 Steps to Becoming a Network Marketing Professional. And then the fourth level were the strategies, the how-tos I learned from my friend and mentor, Brian Carruthers, who wrote the book Building an Empire. With those 4 layers of this success cake, you are unstoppable. You're unstoppable. The product, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just like your favorite restaurant isn't perfect. If they get it right 95% of the time, is it still a great product? You better believe it is. My cell phone is not perfect, but if they get it right 95% of the time, it's still a great cell phone. Your company doesn't have to be perfect. Your product doesn't have to be perfect. Your opportunity doesn't have to be perfect. But if you got those 4 layers of this success cake in place, you're unstoppable. So this core leader challenge is the second layer of the cake. It's the second layer of the cake. And what I want to leave everybody with is the core convictions that produce a core leader. Ms. Faith, if you would share, what did you learn about this today in your journey from a before and after picture standpoint? How were you, let everybody know how you were thinking about showing up to events before this coaching session, and what your mindset was about trying to go, and if it works out, or I got to figure out logically how to make it happen, versus afterwards, what was your new epiphany?
Yeah, so I recently had some unsuspected events occur, and having a transportation issue. And I was like, well, coach, I've got to find a new way.
And this is
Which is
particularly
correct.
about certain events. There's a couple of events that you were missing as a
This,
result of health challenges and as a result of transportation challenges, right?
right, right. So I missed even though I had paid and bought my ticket, I became ill and I missed the quarterly event, the big event we just had. I missed that because of illness. And then I just missed the weekly meeting, which I typically attend because of some last minute car problems. And after going through coaching and with coach and getting my outs, getting
You're on mute. After getting your
I'll
what?
call it after getting my booster shot, sometimes you go in for your shot and there's a little pain with that ouch. And understanding that conviction is the door opener, it's the way finder. And when your conviction is strong, according to how I was coached by the fabulous Coach Carbill, when your conviction is strong enough, everything aligns with that conviction. And so you are able to not have to worry about how to, because ways begin to manifest, ideas begin to come, and the universe and everything else aligns with that strong, undeniable conviction that you have about who you are and what you are going to do. what you are going to see through, what you're going to be, what you're going to insist has to happen. So it was very transformative to me because already I'm speaking it to myself, I'm thinking through, and things are starting to come, ways that the how-tos are starting to begin to be made manifest. Even in the short period of time, new ideas have begun to flow. So that was a huge shift for me. I feel very strongly about everything that I say, but understanding that I needed to take that to the next level. It's sort of like the exercise that you do in some workshops where they say raise your hand as high as it can go, and then they tell you to raise it a little bit higher. So I feel like I had my hand up all the way, but through the Board CEO coaching, I was able to know, nah, I can raise my hand a little bit higher. And so I'm looking forward to the results that'll come with that mind shift because I am determined to scale. And you see my background, epic execution. That's what I'm about this year. And I know that I'll be able to achieve that with the benefits that I'm getting by participating in Born CEO coaching.
I love it. I'm so excited for you. Show some love in the comments for Miss Abraham. Here's the thing, y'all. This is about to be breakthrough. Um, Miss Miss Faith said, I didn't make it to my event because I had car transportation and I've got to figure out how to make it happen. And I said, no, ma'am. And I said, and if you're thinking that you missing your weekly event or you're missing a step in the checklist and your core leader challenge, you're missing a step in the ingredients that keep something, one of the steps that's keeping you from implementing the entire recipe. I said, you don't need to figure out how. That's not the problem. Figuring out how is not the problem. It's developing the conviction that I don't miss my weekly event. Did y'all feel the gravitas behind that? I don't miss my weekly event on Tuesday nights. Period. Transportation problems. Transportation, I don't miss my Tuesday night event. It doesn't matter if my transportation fails, I don't miss because I have a core conviction that says I don't miss no matter what. And without that core conviction, I don't get to be a core leader. And so I had transportation issues. Guess what? If I had to take the bus, I took the bus from my dorm room at Howard University to Maryland to get to my event. If I couldn't take the bus, I took the train. If I couldn't take the train, I'll get a ride. If I can't get a ride, I'll book a taxi cab. Now we got Uber. Well, coach, what if it cost $100 to get an Uber to my weekly event? Did you not hear my conviction? I said, I don't miss my weekly event. It is the core ingredient that makes the recipe work. It is the core ingredient, a part of my 10,000 plus per month recipe. So if it's $100 Uber ride, it's not costing me $100, or it's for a month. It's not costing me $400 to get to my weekly event. It's costing me $9,600 a month to not take the Uber. That's a core conviction. A core conviction says, oh, I don't miss my big event no matter what. I don't miss it. Myrtle Beach, New Orleans is coming up. I'm going to do I got a conference coming up, New Orleans. Everybody watching this, be there. I'm doing a Born CEO workshop on that Wednesday, April the 8th. Thank you. April the 8th. Come in early for Wednesday, April the 8th. It's going to be a life-changing Born CEO workshop, book signing, photos. It's going to be life-changing. And then there's a wealth conference with a bunch of millionaire mentors coming from all over the country. Whether you're in the same business as me as not, you got to get into that environment. It is the environment part of the environment that helped transform me. Part of the process that helped transform me. I attend seminars and events and get around certain people to develop different aspects of myself. If you want this to be your best year yet, be with me in New Orleans. In fact, comment New Orleans in the comment. And reach out to me. I'm at Coach Farbell anywhere. So one of the core convictions of a core leader says, I don't miss my big event every 90 days. My annual big event. I got a winter one, an annual winter event, an annual spring event, an annual fall event, and an annual summer event. These events are what anchor me. They keep me going. They keep me moving. They put my success on autopilot. It's my daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly rhythm. My daily, weekly, monthly, annual rhythm. It keeps me in the rhythm of success. I don't have to think about success. All I have to do is stay in the rhythm of success. But in order to stay in the rhythm of success, my convictions keep me in the rhythm. In order for my core leaders, my 35 core leaders that I'm raising up to stay in the rhythm, their convictions have to keep them in the rhythm. I can't carry them. Their own convictions have to keep them in the rhythm. So as a leader, my job is to transfer my convictions to them if they will. And if they won't, they're not my core leader. They're not ready yet. I got to keep searching for those who are ready now to implement the entire recipe. It's not hard. It's only as hard as we make it. It is hard, but it's simple. It's hard to break through old beliefs. It's hard to break through old emotions. It's hard to break through old mindsets, but it's possible and it's worth it. And it's a lot easier with a team. And you got me on your team to help you break through. You got Miss Faith on your team to help you break through. We got a community to help you break through. So the last thing I want to share, if my conviction says I don't miss core, I don't miss the big event, money problems won't stop me from getting there. I got so much convictions, my money problems will figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out. If I gotta buy a one-way plane ticket, if I gotta go show 10 people my video, if I gotta get 10 more people onto a Zoom, if I gotta bring 10 more people out to a weekly event, I'm gonna do whatever I've got to do to get the problem solved. My conviction is so strong, it changes my circumstances. My conviction is so strong, if my body is trying to get ill during big event time, body, I said I don't miss big events. That illness must go now. Everything must move with my conviction, my core conviction. This has got to be what that mustard seed faith that my king was talking about, that can move mountains. There's a conviction to this thing. So tap into your strong convictions, your core convictions. We're not weak. We're not weak leaders with weak convictions. We are core leaders because we have core convictions that we protect, and everything else around us must bend when you flow from your core convictions. That's our topic for today. Let's go rule our domains.